Hello and welcome back to Bible Witch Bible Corner. So I apologize about not putting the video up yesterday. I was fighting a migraine and just could not focus long enough to do so. So anyway, back to it tonight. Tonight we are going to look at a couple more verses, one Old Testament, one New Testament. Starting with the English Standard Version, we are going to look at Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 5. And that reads, "But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was a chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed." Okay. Now we're going to jump clear ahead into Romans chapter 4 and verse 25. "Who was delivered up for us our transgressions and raised for our justification." All right, New Century Version. Again, that is Isaiah 53 and verse 5. "But he was wounded for the wrong we did. He was crushed for the evil we did. The punishment which made us well was given to him, and we are healed because of his wounds." All right, Romans chapter 4 and verse 25. "Jesus was given to die for our sins, and he was raised from the dead to make us right with God." Okay. So, again, here we have a couple of verses, several hundred years apart, that coincide, they agree, and looking at even written man history, we can see that even in written history, a man named Jesus, did die on a cross. So, where a lot of the man written history does not like to continue on is that man was raised from the dead 3 days later. And that's exactly what Isaiah 53:5 and Romans 4:25 are talking about. When he was raised from the dead and when he was crucified. So I need to start from the beginning. When he was crucified, he took on our sins. He was perfect. He had no sin. But when he was put on that cross, the sin of the entire world went straight to his shoulders, so to speak. He had the weight of the world literally on his shoulders, full of sin. Then he was buried, and 3 days later, raised from the dead. So, the reason some people, I believe, don't want to talk about this is no person on earth raised Jesus from the dead. Now, I've said in the video previously that the Jewish people were, I'm going to say, they were versed out in the Old Testament, so they had heard that there was those in the Old Testament that had raised people from the dead. My memory is kind of fuzzy. I can't remember if it was Elijah or Elisha. One of those two raised a young child from the dead. So the Jewish people are well aware of stuff like this actually happening. But they are also very well aware that it's the power of God doing it. They just don't like the idea of a human not being involved when Jesus was raised from the dead. That it was strictly only God that did that. And I'm putting out a statement there that's kind of harsh. So when I say they, I'm talking about the people that don't want to believe in God. Those people are the ones that don't want to see a man raised from the dead without the help of someone on earth. So, just to make that clear, that's what I'm talking about there. So, again, these passages for our sins. So, we can continue reading in Romans. There's a few verses that say, shall we go on sinning so that grace may increase? No. So, what we should try to do is do what Matthew says, and that is strive to live every day to be closer to God, to be better than we were yesterday, and sin less today than we did yesterday. So that's kind of what I get when I read all of this. When I put it together in my head, that's what I get with these two passages. One man loved his creation so much, and I say man because he was a man on earth. He loved his creation so much that he was willing to die for every single person from Adam until the last person that is born. Now, will all of us end up going to heaven? No. Again, Matthew talks about that. Wide is the road that leads to destruction. Narrow is the road that leads to everlasting life. It's up to us to choose which road we want to be on. I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful, God-centered day. Bye.